Welcome back, everybody. It's Captain Fumbles and Fumbles Roulette here, and we're playing more Dark Souls with Edgar the Lady Slayer. Come in. Star Trek. You don't know much about it.
From what I've seen you watch, that's about it.
Alright. That's kind of me on Doctor Who with Garrett. It's not that I'm not a big fan, it's just not something I care to get into. And most people cut my head off for that. It's just, it's not my kind of thing. I'm a Trekkie. And what the hell's going on here?
It's a trap door to open up another door. Like, I had to turn it, and then she turns, and it's a mechanism, and then the fucking door opens.
Oh, symbolic. Ooh.
It's just fucking doors opening. I don't know what it symbolizes there.
But everyone, like, apparently there's a battle between Star Wars fans and Star Trek fans, and I don't want to say it, but Star Trek is better. I will give this Star Wars, better fighting, better action. That's great. Cool. Congratulations. Balance between dark and light. Star Trek is so much more than that. It is so much more. There is no balance between good or evil. It is a morale or a moral thing. Like Captain Jean-Luc Picard, there are some times where he does some messed up things for the sake of what he believes is good, but others on his crew believe is a terrible, terrible idea. And I think Data is the best example of that. He has no conscience. He has no idea of good or evil. So when he makes a decision, it's like when Spock makes a decision. He does it on a cold, calculated, factual process. Like, if 2 plus 2 equals 4, 2 plus 2 equals 4, this is the way to go.
Not fish?
But that's the thing, like, with them, it's like 2 plus 2 might equal 4, but is that the best option we can make? Is that the best option out of all of it? Because, and that's what I find, like, so fascinating. And they tackle so many topics in that show that Star Wars just doesn't give a crap about. They talk about equal rights for men and women. They talk about transgender communities in a different, like, they use aliens, and I guess that's not the best interpretation of it, but I mean, you got to think back then, like, it was hard to talk about any kind of topic without pissing people off, so they used aliens for most of the time of these topics, but they talked about transgender communities. Like, there was, I remember one episode, there was a race that didn't believe in genders. They didn't have genders. They were reproduced by cloning and budding and stuff like that. There were no genders to their race. But there were a select few people who felt more female than male, or felt more male than female. And so their society rejected them, and they said, no, you people are wrong, and they would take them, abduct them, and put them in processes of, like, basically torture camps where they teach them to be normal. And that was, like, kind of tackling the issue of, on the gay community, of these people love these kind of people, and that's, and in the community's eyes, that's wrong. So we did some pretty messed up things back in the day to people who were gay. And that's not okay. Like, I don't care if your views are gay people are wrong or not. You don't torture a human being just because they're different. I don't care your opinions on any of that. It doesn't matter. You don't torture a human being just because they're different. And that's something Star Trek would tackle. They would also introduce technology that nobody would ever think of. Star Wars, ooh, it's a lightsaber. You can't have one. I don't care.
Man.
I don't care how much you want one. It is not going to happen in your lifetime. You will die before one of those things created. I am sorry to let you down. It's just not going to happen. Unless if YouTube exists beyond my capacity and I'm long dead and somebody's watching this video in the distant future and you got a lightsaber, fucking wail it around and be proud. I don't care. My generation, the generation after me and the generation after that, it's not going to happen. You're not going to have a lightsaber. But guess what you do have? A cell phone. Guess what didn't exist when Star Trek first came out? Cell phones. Guess what you have now? Cell phones. Guess what you have? Tablets. Those were invented in Star Trek. A monitor that you would go up to and look at things and stuff like that. Those things didn't happen back then. Now, furry tail. You're gonna cut it off.
I'm gonna try to. It's a bitch. I don't have a great weapon. Alright. I gotta go the other way towards it. I gotta hug it real quick. You gotta pet it. It's the one thing you gotta do every time. Oh, it's not gonna let me.
Because you're trying to talk to her.
Asshole. Alright. I hit her once. That's fucking good. Alright.
But you have tablets, you have phones, you have all of these wonderful technologies. Sadly, we don't have a replicator, nor do I think that's going to be that's about as much a possibility as a lightsaber or a holodecks maybe, but not in the concept that they had it. But you have all this great technology that is invented, and Star Wars was just swing, 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 good and evil, swing, swing, swing. Star Trek tackled topics that you couldn't, were just completely taboo at the time. And so, I find that to be brilliant and fascinating, and it was just, I want that universe, because yes, the government was still technically corrupt. Sadly, that I don't think could ever not happen just as a human being. Once we get power, it's going to go to our heads. But, that society was so much better off. Women and men were equal in every way. There was no hate, there was no evil for the most part. Most citizens, especially due to the replicator, were happy with their lives. They didn't have to work crappy jobs because they had a replicator. Every citizen was equal in every way. And those things are so amazing. And the saddest part is just because as far as I'm concerned, the human race is just not possible to do that kind of stuff. There's always going to be the guy who's going to want more. And he's going to take more, and he's going to break the system, and there's just too many of us that want that. There's too many people that want more than what they already have. They're not happy with what they have. And Star Trek is a community where everybody's happy with what they have. There are the minor communities want more, where nowadays it's the major community wants more. Most people want to work hard and be rewarded for working hard. They don't want to work hard just because they know it's going to benefit everyone. They want to work hard because they know it's going to benefit them. And that's just a sad reality of this world. I know, deep philosophy, bro. But that's what Star Trek is. It's deep philosophy. Where Star Wars was swing, swing, lightsaber, good and evil, use the Force.
I mean, they had the corrupt government and stuff like that as well.
Everyone says it was corrupt government, but were the people really that bad off when the Empire was ruling?
I mean...
ignore the prequels because god-awful. But the economy was stable. Most people had good jobs. Yeah, there were the poor planets, but that was the old planet's fault. Were they worse off because the Empire was ruling with a Sith Lord? The Sith's desire is not to kill everyone, it's to become the most powerful. Once they succeeded in that, they don't care. They had their Death Star.
I think Palpatine would have done extra.
I don't know. As far as I know, that the only terrible thing they really did in that entire movie was destroy Alderaan. But who cares?
Who cares about Alderaan? It's just one planet.
Now, don't get me wrong. There was the corruption of the whole government system in the beginning, prequels and stuff like that. But as every Star Wars fan knows, we will ignore those. That and Jar Jar Binks is not a Sith Lord.
He is. Look into it.
So
look into the theory.
Guys, go ahead, look into that. But he is not a Sith Lord.
He's a Sith Lord.
He is not a Sith Lord in any way, shape, or form.
Comment if you're gonna fucking watch it. Hashtag what'd we say? I can't remember what fucking came up that night. We came up with something for people who believe that Jar Jar Binks is a Sith. I was really, really tired at that time.
He was the worst thing to happen in the Star Wars franchise ever.
Loved him.
He
glued it together.
He glued it together?
He did.
Okay, he did the same thing. He did the same... I can't talk about it because I guess it's technically still spoilers. But I don't... I'll just say this much. I don't like Finn.
I was fine with Finn.
That's as far as we'll get into that comment because we can't spoil the new movie.
Well, when does that end? Is
I don't know spoiler. I guess we could technically yell spoiler alert and then we could do whatever the hell we want. But I don't want them to just skip the video just because we started talking about something they haven't seen yet. It just... I'm not a fan. Well, hell, our channel's too small. By the time a lot of people watch this video, it's not even going to be spoiler alert. People are going to be like, yeah, no, and Darth Vader is his father. Yeah, we get it.
We get it.
That's about as much spoilers it's going to be for the spoiler in this movie, which I will admit everyone's really mad about what happened in this movie. I was happy. I smiled when it happened. I don't hate the character. I love the character beyond belief, but I smiled when it happened. And you can hate me in the comments below all you want. I thought it was.
I know what you're talking about, Lou.
I don't care. I smiled when it happened. I don't hate the character, but it happened, and I smiled, and I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
That reminds me. When we were watching in high school, we watched the movie of Mice and Men, and it's a sad book. If you don't know Mice and Men, I don't know the characters' names, so I'm gonna butcher that, but I'm pretty sure one of them's Larry.
Yeah.
The big dumb one's Larry.
I gotta look it up.
He's mentally disabled, and he likes to pet soft things. He's also very strong. He pets soft things too hard and kills them. He likes to grab mice and pet them, but he snaps their neck. He grabbed a puppy and petted it and snapped its neck. He grabbed a bunny and petted it and snapped its neck. And he petted a pretty lady's hair and snapped her neck. So, blah blah blah, spoiler alert, by the end of the book, they go on a manhunt for Larry. Larry's best friend finds him because he knew where he'd be, and this has happened he hasn't killed a human being before, but they have had to get out of town for killing other animals, and Lenny and George. George is the big dumb one.
No, Lenny.
Lenny is the big dumb one. Alright. So his friend George finds Lenny down by a creek. And in the book, it's you're all gonna if you don't know what the word intimate is, look it up before you accuse me of making it romantic. It's an intimate moment between the two characters where he is sad, he's upset that he has to do this, but George kills Lenny. And in the book, it's slow. They talk for a little bit. And then he stands up slowly, points the gun, and then pulls the trigger. In the movie adaptation of it, they talk for a few seconds, and then
look into the sunset.
And then George
bang!
Stands up really quickly, looks backwards, and pulls the trigger and shoots him in the head. I laughed. Everyone else has got tears in their eye. I'm not kidding. Every guy, every girl in the room had tears in their eye at that moment. I laughed loudly at that moment. And it wasn't because it wasn't a sad moment. It's because it was so crummy of a version of what really happened. Because he literally, I love you, Lenny. Bah! Bam! Done! Out! Like, I laughed because it happened so quickly, and it was just, pa! And like, I wasn't sad. I was just like, I can't believe they just, wah! That moment. Like, that was like, in the book, that was a sad, slow moment. Yeah. In the movie, it was an action scene almost. And it was just like, okay, I can't cry during that. You kidding me?
I think I was dumbfounded by it. I'm like, what the fuck did I just watch? Like, what
just
the
a
hell?
Snuff film?
Like, I was ready for like a long drawn out thing, and then all of a sudden it was just a straight up shot, and I'm like, this isn't how I remembered it. We had like 20 pages of him just talking to him.
It was hilarious.
What other? We had what books did we read? Fucking The Great Gatsby. I hated that one.
You hated the newest movie or the book?
The book. I just hated Morg.
Yeah. I hated her. Cope.
I'll name drop. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, fuck that fucking. I don't care if you're watching. You won't watch this video because you're fucking.
Yeah, you're banned from it.
But I hate you as a person because, and I'm sorry that teachers feel this way eventually. Don't make your students feel like you're better than them. Now, that's just a message personally. That's why I hated high school, for the most part, is teachers talked down to me like I didn't know what I was doing. Sorry to tell you this. I'm not a guy that believes that I'm a super genius. Some of your guys' jobs I can do at that age. Like, I'm not gonna brag that I'm capable of doing anything and I'm the king of all knowledge and I know everything. But, like, our biology teacher, that class was super easy for me. I already knew all of that information before I went in there, so I got bored, and when I get bored, I don't do my homework. I was a stupid kid in high school. Don't be a stupid kid in high school. She was a pot smoker, retarded,
crazy woman.
She would belittle the kids in her class to the point where one time we were all being a little loud. We're freshmen. Yeah, we're going to be a little loud. She had us all sit down and write her an apology letter. I wrote, I don't know exactly what I wrote, I can't quote it, but it went a little something like this. Dear bitch, I'm not writing you a fucking apology letter because I'm not fucking sorry for what I fucking did. I don't owe you anything, you don't owe me anything. I don't know where you got your teacher's degree, I don't know who paid you to, or who you paid to get it. You don't deserve it, you don't deserve to be in this school, you don't deserve to teach this class. I've taught more of your students than you have. P.S. Go fuck yourself. Don't belittle your students, because then they're going to feel stupid, and they're not going to want to do your work, and they're going to hate you, and they're going to hate the class. That's what happened to me in high school, or grade school. 5th grade, I hated the teacher as it was. She was a jerk. In the comments below, how many of you kids doodled on your homework? Especially when you were mad. You draw.
I want to see you fucking answer it.
You would doodle out little comics of you beating the people you hate, or something bad happens to the people you hate. This is what I drew, and I'm a terrorist because of it, apparently. I drew me as a giant stepping on the school, and then the military coming in to stop me. That is what I drew. They interpreted it as, I'm going to come in and shoot up the school. So eventually, she's like, I'm reporting this to the principal. And at that point, I was like, I don't give a fuck. Fuck you, bitch. And in grade school, 5th grade, little kid, the principal comes in and talks to me, and he's like, we have to get the deputy on this. They bring in the deputy for the school district, and I'm in a room with a long table with a cop at the end of it, the teacher and the principal, and then both my parents at my end. And they come in, and the cop is talking about, like, you can't draw these kind of things, it's dangerous, and you can be, and I might have to arrest you because of this. My dad at that moment, I probably loved him more than anybody else. He clenched his fist and started getting up and was going to walk over and punch that cop in the face for talking to his son like that. He was like, you don't talk to my kid like that. He's a young man who doodled in a comic in his book because he was mad. You did it as a kid. I did it as a kid. Everybody did it as a kid. You don't talk to my son that way. He didn't do anything wrong. My mom actually, and they were mid-divorce at this point. My mom grabbed his hand and said, it's okay, we'll talk this out. My dad was going to beat a cop in front of me and didn't care if he went to prison for it. And I loved him so much for that day, and I love my mom for stopping him because I wouldn't have a dad at this time.
He'd
but
be in jail.
The principal was a dick, the cop was a dick, and the teacher was a dick. And from 5th grade on, I hated school because all my teachers talked down to me. All of them belittled me. And anytime I did do my homework, A pluses across the board. Every test, A plus. I didn't have trouble in school. I hated school, so so that's what caused me to have trouble. And they ruined school for me. So teachers, if you're watching this and you're a teacher, which I doubt, but if it's possible, don't talk down to or even potential teachers, don't talk down to your students. Get to know your students. If you see a kid struggling, it's probably not that he doesn't understand the material. He just doesn't want to do it. So talk to him. Figure out a way he wants to do it. Or maybe he doesn't understand it in the way you're teaching. So teach him differently. I get you got 100 plus students in your class. It's your job to take care of each of them. You took on that responsibility when you got your degree, so do your goddamn job. Like, I hated high school because of those kind of teachers, and I don't want other kids to go through high school hating it. It's not a terrible experience if you got the right people. There were teachers at that school that got me through it. Henry, Strawhan, Davis. I can't even remember the one that probably was the biggest influence on me in high school.
What did he teach?
History.
Pottis?
That man, he was the junior year history teacher. He talked to us like we were adults. He respected us.
Yeah.
If we acted like children, he would treat us like children. But if we weren't acting around like children, he would treat us like an adult. And that made me respect him. That made me enjoy school. And I got through his class because of it. And so, I didn't hate school after junior year because of him. He got me through school. I didn't hate junior high all that much because of Henry and Pottis. Or not Pottis, Henry and Strawhan. Because they made school fun. They taught me in a way I understood. You gotta adapt to the kids. You can't just teach by the book every single year. You've got to teach for the kids. And I know your school is going to teach you, teach for the test. Fuck the test. If your kids aren't learning, then you're failing as a teacher.
Yeah.
That's just my philosophy. Like, I don't care if you're getting paid, if your job is to make the school money. Your job is to pass those students and pass them well and give them experience for the rest of their lives. If you can't do that, you can't be a teacher. Now, I get it. You're going to have the douchebag kid in your class.
Send him
If
away.
he's going to be a douchebag, treat him like a douchebag. Treat your students how they're acting, but don't belittle them, because it's not going to help. I had a lot of issues with that. Sorry, high school is not a fun time for me. That is going to be it for the end of this episode, though. You know, like and subscribe, whatnot. We'll get deep into all kinds of philosophies. I'll tell you what's wrong with the government system next time. I'm not getting into that. Sorry. I'll tell you what's wrong with our schooling system, but the government's a whole other issue that I just don't want to tackle.
It's reptiles.
The Obama's a reptile. And the world is flat. Alright, see you guys next time. Peace.
Bye. Get that clipboard?
Yeah, I got the clipboard.
Power.
I still can't believe I'm using a clipboard for time machines. Time machines.
Time machines.
Time
Oh
sheets.
fuck.
I'm the doctor.